What's going on, everybody? Back again today to bring you another Marvel related video. And today, I know I'm late. I know I'm real late on this. I always am. Today we're talking about Loki, the Marvel, the MCU show on Disney Plus, Loki. I've said this before in my WandaVision and Falcon Winter Soldier videos. Me and my wife, who I've managed to successfully get into the MCU, we don't like to do episode at a time. We like to wait for it to just all be out and then binge watch it. So that's what we did. And we watched all of it last weekend. And I was working a lot this week and doing a lot of school. And so it took me, till now to get this review up. So, yeah, Loki. Loved it. Absolute. Oh my god. It's out of all of the uh, little mini series TV shows for the MCU that have been put on Disney Plus, Loki is by far the best one. Ranking them: Loki, WandaVision, Falcon Winter Soldier. WandaVision was essential because it shows her truly become the Scarlet Witch, which I have a strong feeling that's going to come up later. Loki, we're going to get into in a minute, it is incredibly crucial to the future of the MCU. It sets the stage for all the shit coming up. Holy fuck. We're going to get into it. But Falcon and the Winter Soldier, it was there for one reason and one reason only, and it was to go, hey guys, if you have a problem with the new Captain America being black, watch this show and hopefully it'll fix. Fuck that, dude. Like, we don't need a show to try and fix that. We got it at the end of Endgame. He gave the fucking shield to Sam Wilson, and he's Captain America. That's all we needed to see in terms of that. Got it. He's Captain America now. If people have a problem with that, a mini series on Disney Plus is not going to fix it. If they want to be a fucking ignorant piece of shit and not like the new Captain America because he's black, then that's what the fuck they're going to do. And your boring ass Falcon Winter Soldier show isn't going to change that. So that's that. So that's the worst of them so far. I don't know how else to put it. The vast majority of people, including myself, we were just cool with it. We saw it at the end of Endgame and we were like, okay. I mean, me being a comic book guy, I wasn't like, he's black, what the fuck's going on with this? I was more along the lines of like, chronologically in the source material, Bucky took up the mantle before Sam Wilson ever did, so I kind of feel like if we're just from a comic nerd perspective, it should be Bucky. But whatever. There was like the vast majority of people just accepted it right there, like, cool, he's gonna be the new Captain America. But I guess they felt either that or they just needed to. They needed a third show. They needed a third show to put on Disney Plus in this interim time, so they just did that. I don't know, but Loki. We're here to talk about Loki. So, I liked it. What is there really to say? Before I get into the spoilers, it's a Disney Plus MCU show, so you know it's got the budget. Like, the special effects are top notch. Tom Hiddleston is great as always as Loki. Owen Wilson is great as his character. All the new actors are great. Everything gels really well. Everything looks spectacular. Everything is just it's great. 10 out of 10. Cannot say enough good things about it. You should watch it. I know that's kind of a shit review, but that's just what it is, And holy fuck, does it leave you on a cliffhanger, like ready for the next phase of the MCU. And now I guess we'll go ahead and talk about that. So spoilers in 3, 2, 1. Multiverse. The multiverse is coming to the MCU. In fact, it's here. For those of you who did not quite get the ending of Loki, I'm going to explain it to you. So, a long time ago in the history of the MCU, before anything we've seen, before any movie, the events of any movie or TV show we've seen, the MCU was a multiverse. It was a multiverse. There were a bunch of various different timelines, all similar to one another, but different in sometimes subtle, sometimes very drastic ways. There was a multiverse. And there was a multiversal war brought about by this guy named Kang the Conqueror. Kang the Conqueror, he was one of the many people who discovered that the multiverse was a thing and figured out a way to travel between it and the different realities of the multiverse. And he decided that I'm going to conquer it all. Not only one universe isn't enough for me, I want all of them. And this multiversal war started. And then this other version of the same guy, another version of Kang from a different reality, he saw all this chaos and bloodshed and horrific shit going on across the multiverse, and he's like, we gotta end it. It gives me kind of a very Doctor Who vibe, almost like the Time War from Doctor Who. And finally he was just like, this war is occurring, it's going on throughout all of time, it's happening all at once, in every part of space, in every time that there is. I gotta end it. And that's kind of what this guy felt. This other version, this other reality version of Kang the Conqueror, he was like, I got to put a stop to this. So the first thing it looks like he did was he created this like AI supercomputer program, which in the show takes the form of that little cartoon clock that, like, it's a little hologram of the clock that has like eyeballs and it talks. He built this AI computer program that it's so advanced and sophisticated that it can mathematically calculate future events. And he tasked this AI program with, hey, do me a favor, do the calculations, do the math, figure out what would need to occur, what events would need to occur, in what order, to just have one perfect single timeline. And so the AI machine did it, and it told him, okay, it would need to go like this. And he went, okay, so here's what we're going to do. We're going to go around the multiverse. We're going to capture all these people, these people that do not need to exist. They are not essential to this one perfect timeline. We're going to capture a bunch of them. So he did that. He captured a bunch of them, wiped their minds. And then he woke them up and put into their heads this idea that, like, hey, you're this new being that's just been created, and you're here to serve this organization called the Time Variance Agency. And you were created by the Timekeepers, which are these 3 alien celestial beings that maintain this one perfect timeline. And you were created by them for the purpose of helping to maintain that one perfect timeline. And once they were woken up, once these people that he gathered from all the different realms of the multiverse, once they were woken up, they had their memories wiped, they were woken up, and they implanted with the new memories. They did what they'd been told that their purpose was. They didn't know anything else at that point, so they just went to work pruning, as they call it, all the different branches of this perfect timeline, whittling it down to one perfect timeline. Just one cohesive series of events. And once they got it down to just one, they existed solely to just keep it as one. Every once in a while, something would happen that would start trying to make like a branch. It would branch off into its own reality. They would portal in there and nip that shit in the bud and get it dealt with real fast. And it was good for a really long time. It worked out that way for a really long time. But this AI computer program that this version of Kang had, and we're going to call this version of him, in the show he's called He Who Remains, because he sits in this like castle fortress that exists at the end of all of time, at the end of his perfect timeline, and he just chills there because he doesn't want these people, like the AI program told him, like, hey, sooner or later these people, they're gonna kind of want to know, like, why they're doing what they're doing. Like, basically he's got this giant secret, right, which is that the universe used to be a multiverse, but now it's not, because he abducted, mind wiped, and then repurposed a bunch of people from all over the multiverse and used them to trim it down in just one timeline. That's a big secret, right? He doesn't want people to know that. So he sits secluded at the end of time in this like castle fortress. Well, this AI program of his told him, it's like, hey, I've done the math. Sooner or later, just like with any secret that is out there, sooner or later, the secret's going to get exposed. The truth's going to come out. Someone's going to figure it out. And the AI program, the clock, the time thing, it predicted that the people who were going to figure it out are these two versions of Loki. The Loki from it predicted it. So for that's the first big thing you got to understand right there. At the beginning of the show, they tell Loki that he's a variant, like him taking the Tesseract and escaping at the end during the events of Endgame. They tell him that was not meant to happen. He was not meant to do that. He was meant to do that. Everything that happens in the show Loki was meant to happen. The little AI clock program predicted it. It told He Who Remains, it told him, like, hey, I've done the math, I predicted the future. It's going to end up with these two versions of Loki figuring out your bullshit, and they're going to come have words with you. And He Who Remains, he makes that clear too in the show at the end when they finally do meet him. He tells them, like, hey, so remember when I told you that, like, I knew everything that was going to happen? Like, it was all written down. I knew everything that was going to happen in the course of time. That was only partially true. I knew everything that was going to happen up to a certain point, and that point is now. The AI clock program told him, these two versions of Loki, they're going to figure out your bullshit. They're going to come have words with you. You're going to explain to them the truth about everything. And after that, I can't predict it any further. I don't know what's going to happen. If it was just one Loki here, I could probably predict what was going to happen, but there's two. There's two Lokis, and they don't feel the same way about this bullshit, so I can't really tell you what's going to happen. And if it was two different people, if it was a Loki and a Thor, I could probably tell you what was going to happen, because if those two decide to fight each other over it, I can probably tell you who's going to win. But it's literally two versions of the same person who have equal chance of, each one has equal chance of beating the other in a fight. So even if they disagree on how to proceed from this I can't predict it, is really what the little AI program came down to. Like, I can't predict it past this point. So He Who Remains was like, cool, whatever. I guess I'll just have to deal with it then. And eventually in the show, we get to that point. The two versions of Loki, our Loki, so to speak, the one that escaped with the Tesseract during Endgame, and then this female Loki who goes by the name Sylvie. She was a variant. That's what they call people who are not meant to exist. They don't belong in the events of the one perfect timeline. They call them variants. Their existence contradicts the one perfect timeline. At a very, very young age, when she was just a little girl, this agency came for her to fucking prune her. And she's been on the run. She stole a fucking temp pad, technological reality hopping device. And she's been on the run her entire life. And her entire purpose has been like, I'm going to find the people who are basically what they're telling me is that all of reality is better off if I just don't exist. And they're hunting me. They're hunting me under this premise of, hey, all of reality is better off if you don't exist. And she's like, how dare anyone tell me that? How dare anyone, who has the right to tell anyone that reality is better off if they don't exist? She's like, I don't give a fuck who is it behind all this. I don't care if it's God himself or herself, who the fuck knows. I'm going to find out who's behind this, and I'm going to cut their fucking head off. Because no one has the right to tell me that my existence is invalid. And for the most part, our Loki, Tom Hiddleston, he's with her on this journey all the way up until they get to He Who Remains, the guy behind it all. And he tells them, he's like, look, I knew you were coming. I knew you were coming because I know all of the events of time up to this point. Sylvie, female Loki, you were meant to exist. You were meant to exist, and coming here is exactly what you were meant to do. Same thing with you, Tom Hiddleston Loki. Everything's gone according to plan. Everything's gone according to the AI time program's prediction, calculation. And he explains to them, used to be a multiverse, it sucked. I cleaned it up into one perfect timeline. And I kept that a secret from all of reality that I had done that. But now you guys have figured out the secret. So, Sylvie, you want to kill me. I know that. Tom, I think you want to kill me, but maybe not as badly as Sylvie does. So here's the deal. You can kill me if you want. You can. If you do, the two of you are going to have to make a choice. You can, well, basically he presents them with it's like three options really. It's like you can continue to let me do my shit and just keep my secret. Universe stays one, all of reality stays in one perfect form. You can kill me and take my place and carry on my work in my stead, in which case, yeah, I'm dead, but once again, reality maintains itself. One perfect reality. Or you could kill me and not continue my work, in which case the multiverse is going to come back. And with the multiverse is going to come the horrific, bloody war brought on by the alternate version of me. And trust me, you don't want that. That's what he tells them. And out of all of those options, Loki is kind of under the idea of, more or less, our Loki, Tom Hiddleston, believes him. And he's kind of like, we need to accept his offer. We need to carry on his work. Sylvie's like, no, fuck him. He has to die. And Loki, I have a feeling, is kind of like, okay, you can kill him, but then me and you got to continue on his work. But that's not good enough for Sylvie. You have to understand, this is a person who has had to live their life on the run, in hiding, trusting no one, never knowing love, never knowing friendship, simply because some other person, one person, he who remains, one person determined, made the call, the judgment call, that all of reality is better off without her existing. Her existence is invalid. And that has led to a life of suffering and misery and pain for her. So the idea that she is going to carry on that job and do that to other people does not compute to her. In her mind, she's going, no one has the right to tell another person that their existence is invalid. And Loki, our Loki, Tom Hiddleston, is kind of like, really? Really? If you could say, basically, it's the age-old idea of is it okay to kill one person to save a billion? Is it okay to kill one person to save 1,000,000? Is it okay to kill one person to save 1,000? It's that kind of thing. And Sylvie's of the mind of no, it's not. If the multiversal war is going to come back, so be it. But this idea of the means justify the ends is wrong. She's like, no person has the right to tell another person that their existence is invalid. You as a viewer get to form your own opinion of that. Me personally, I'm on Hiddleston's side. If a nuclear bomb is going to go off and kill a ton of fucking people, but I have the power to fly it up into outer space where it just kills me and I don't do it, I'm the dick. I'm the asshole. You know what I mean? Just because it's either me, myself, and I could die, or me, myself, and I plus all these other people can die. And just because I don't get to live means that everyone else should share that same. Yeah, that's, for me, I'm on Hiddleston's side, and I was but I knew he was not going to win. Him and Sylvie get into a bit of a fight because she's trying to kill this dude, and Loki's like, no, we need to just take his place. And then eventually, she kind of acts like she's been convinced by him, and they kiss. It's like this love story. Loki has fallen in love with a female version of himself. It's a little weird, but whatever. I mean, it kind of makes sense from a logical perspective. Who are you going to get along with more than yourself? You think identically. You think you think similarly, I guess. The experiences of each of your individual lives would make you a little different from each other, but for the most part. So they're in love, they kiss, but then right after they kiss, Sylvie, it was all a ruse. Sylvie opens up a portal and pushes Hiddleston through it, closes it. So now she has taken the option of like they kill him, but the two of them then continue his work on after they kill him. That's now no longer on the table because the only one of them that wanted to do that was Hiddleston, and he's no longer there to do it. Sylvie's not going to do it. Sylvie's going to cut his fucking head off, kill him, and then leave, not continue his work. She doesn't believe in his work. She thinks it's wrong. And that's what happens. She throws Tom Hiddleston and Loki into a portal. He ends up on a, because the multiverse does come back. She throws him into a portal, then she goes over to He Who Remains, stabs him in the chest, kills him, and then she D's the fuck out and does not carry on his work, which, as he said, results in the multiverse coming back. And we were left on this cliffhanger of Tom Hiddleston Loki. He thinks he's back at the Time Variance Agency with Owen Wilson's character, which he kind of is, but he starts talking to them, and then he realizes, and we as the viewer realize, they have no idea who he is. And that's when it becomes clear to us. Yes, he has not been thrown. The multiverse is back. Yeah, she threw him into a portal, a time portal, but it's no longer just time that we're dealing with anymore. He wasn't just thrown back in time. He was thrown into a different branch of reality. He was thrown into a different universe amongst the entire multiverse. So who knows where our Tom Hiddleston Loki is at this point. But going forward, all you need to know is that the multiverse is back, and it could not have been handled any better. Holy shit. Back in the sense that like it used to exist. We'd never seen it before, but holy shit, they could not have handled it. That's some heavy stuff right there. Like, it's very heavy existential stuff. Like, this He Who Remains version of Kang is literally just murdering people. Like, well, not murdering them. Some of them he sends off to be murdered. Other ones he repurposes and has them go work for the agency that manages the timeline. It's called the Time Variance Agency. But either way, like, this version of Kang, the He Who Remains version of Kang, is going around all of reality, or he has people doing the dirty work for him. They're going all around reality. And they're going up to people and going, all of reality is better off without you existing. They're going up to specific individuals and basically being like, your existence coming to an end is what's best for all of reality. And that echoes so much in our real... Okay, so a little bit about me. I don't like to get like very personal about me, but I will because it kind of pertains to this. I currently work at a hospital. And at this hospital, I see tons of just like transient, homeless, drug addicted people come into the emergency room, come into the hospital. And they don't have money. They take up hospital rooms and beds that could otherwise be used. Like, there's nothing wrong with them. They're just in there because it's shelter inside. They'll get a free sandwich and something to drink. There's nothing wrong with them. They don't need to be checked out by a doctor, but they'll take up an emergency room and bed just to come inside for a while from outside and get a free sandwich and a warm blanket and yada yada. And fuck, it's like, just to be real here, that shit starts to wear on you after a while, and you're kind of like, you kind of start to think about it, like, what good are these people? Most of them, some of them I'm sure are the products of mental illness or abuse. Like, it wasn't their fault that they ended up this way, but a lot of them, it's just, this is the result of terrible choices that they themselves made with their lives. They dug their own fucking grave. And you're just going like, maybe it's like this Loki thing. It's like, would reality overall be better without their existence? Who knows? Like, it's some deep, heavy, now, in real life, we don't get to act on that. No one does, really. You just got to kind of, it's something you can ponder in your head, but at the end of the day, you just keep on doing your job, living your life. In this show, this version of Kang acted on that. He determined, hey, you, on and on and on. He went, you guys' lives, your existence is invalid, and reality as a whole is better off without you, so fuck you, goodbye. That's deep, heavy, existential shit. Holy fuck. I totally understand why Sylvie was not on board with taking over this guy's line of work. Totally get it. I knew as soon as her and Loki started fighting, I was like, this is gonna go one of two ways. This bullshit that he proposed, where the two of them take up his mantle and continue his work together side by side, I knew that was not going to happen. It was going to go one of two ways. Either female Loki was going to somehow succeed and kill this version of Kang and bring back the multiverse, or Tom Hiddleston's Loki, even though he'd come to find companionship and love with this female version of himself, he was, in order to preserve the timeline and prevent the multiversal war from returning, he was going to have to kill Sylvie. It ended up going the other way. Sylvie pushed him through a portal and killed Kang, and killed He Who Remains. And now the multiverse is back, and all the horrible, horrific, terrible fucking shit that comes with it is back as well. This is going to feed right into the next Doctor Strange movie, which is called Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness. So, that's my take on Loki. I loved it. I cannot say enough good things about it, and it's got me super fucking excited for the next chapter of the MCU. And if you were confused about the ending of Loki, or some things didn't quite make sense, hopefully I cleared that up for you. If not, I'm sorry, I did the best I can. So, please leave some comments below. If I forgot anything, or if you have a different take on it, get a discussion going. If you like this video, leave some, if you like this video, please hit the like button and check out some of my other videos maybe. Subscribe to my channel if you like. And other than that, I will see you guys next time.